Hello, everyone. As you start to come in, good morning, good afternoon. We're glad to have all of you with us today. We've got a really nice group here of nonprofit organizations who are excited about the Giving Challenge. We're glad to have you here. We are going to get started pretty quickly because we've got a packed program. I wanted to introduce myself. My name is Misha Kirby. I'm the Vice President of Strategy and Communications for the Community Foundation of Sarasota County. And you're joining us today for our first of three in a series of trainings for the Giving Challenge that we've partnered with the Patterson Foundation on. And we're very excited to have our hosts who are with us today, our intrepid instructors, Sara, Leonard, and Josephine Eisenberg. Members of their team will be joining us throughout these trainings over the next several months. And this overall just connects to what our purpose is as the Community Foundation and why we host the Giving Challenge. This is meant to be a really fun, exciting opportunity that builds into your overall work. We know the Giving Challenge is certainly not the only thing that goes into your strong and robust donor stewardship plans, but it certainly should enhance it and be a value add to all of the work that you're doing. And so with that in mind, that's why we start so early in planning and want you to have this long runway. And just overall, we were here to create community excitement around charitable giving. Our belief at the Community Foundation is that everyone can be a philanthropist, and the Giving Challenge certainly exemplifies that with the opportunity for everyone to participate with donations from $25 to $100 that are so generously matched by the Patterson Foundation. And all of those dollars really go into generating unrestricted support, which we know is incredibly vital all the time, but more so perhaps even so right now with so many different challenges related to funding affecting so many of our nonprofit partners. So as we get going, I just want to give you a couple of housekeeping items. All of our sessions, our training sessions, are recorded and posted on our YouTube channel. And materials that are mentioned during the program will be emailed to all of the registered participants following within 24 hours of today's program. As we go through the session today, we encourage you to use the Q&A feature so that we can answer clarifying questions, and we'll monitor that throughout the program. The Q&A is helpful because it allows people to sort through past questions and reaffirm answers. So as a reminder, if you do have specific questions about technology, our tech partner is GiveGab, and they're our platform partner, and they are able to help you with quick tech questions as you're setting up your profile over the next few months ahead, and really utilizing that blue bubble that's kind of on the site there, givingchallenge.org. If you have specific questions about your profile or the match or the particulars of the operations of the Giving Challenge, it's easiest to reach. We have a cadre of team members here at the Community Foundation that are responding to all of those inquiries. And so we use the email givingchallenge@cfsarasota.org. So send your questions about those specifics there and you will get a timely answer. And so with that, we are on to the program. You are certainly in good hands, as I said, with our knowledgeable facilitators. Real quick intro on these wonderful women who you may know, but if you're not familiar, first I'd like to introduce Sara Leonard. So Sara is the initiative lead with the Patterson Foundation's Fueling Dynamic Fundraising initiative. And Sara has 30 years as a fundraising veteran. She provides consulting, coaching, and training to fundraisers, as well as CEOs and their boards. And Sara, you will see, is very solutions-oriented, and she has a broad range of experience. And so we are very happy to have her guiding us and guiding throughout these trainings as well with her team. Sara is joined by Josephine Eisenberg, who is also a consultant with the Patterson Foundation and has been for 10 years. So congratulations on that 10-year mark. And she's currently working on that Fueling Dynamic Fundraising initiative, as well as Margin Mission Ignition. So Josephine has more than 25 years of experience in nonprofit development and program management, and she is very knowledgeable in fundraising capacity, helping plan out and deliver a clear strategic vision. And of course, which is important, the whole purpose of the Giving Challenge is cultivating authentic donor relationships. So we're fortunate to have them here. They're going to kick us off, get us started, and we are on our way. So with that, Sara.
Great. Thank you, Misha. We are excited to be here. We have both been where you are. We have experience as frontline fundraisers and now have the opportunity to work as consultants and interact with a lot of nonprofits at the same time. Misha mentioned that we are part of the Fueling Dynamic Fundraising initiative of the Patterson Foundation. And through that initiative, we work with nonprofits to strengthen their fundraising because we know that stronger fundraising means more mission delivery. And I believe most of you are familiar with the Patterson Foundation, but I just would like to remind you that for all 10 of the giving challenges, the Patterson Foundation has strengthened giving, amplified the impact of what you're doing by providing a match to unique donors between $25 and $100, no limit on the number of unique donor matches each organization can receive. We love that. And we are delighted that you all choose to participate in the Giving Challenge, and we're happy to be here to help you maximize what you raise. There are additional training topics coming up. We're starting today with planning your roadmap because we believe that planning is what will really lead to success. And then in January, another of our team members is joining us to talk about planning your communications for your Giving Challenge campaign. And then in February, a countdown to impact session to get you ready for the 24 hours of the Giving Challenge. And then there are 2 additional training sessions from the Community Foundation and their platform partner to help you with the technicalities of it. So I want to just for a second tell you that we have been very intentional with the topics for training because we believe that every organization has the opportunity to maximize the amount they raise if you put the planning into it. And we also believe that that is possible if you start early and take this in manageable steps. We're also very committed that the Giving Challenge should be part of your fundraising tool belt, not the entire tool belt. And so everything we talk about, we hope can also be applied to your regular fundraising and all of your other fundraising. So we're going to start today working on this roadmap to Giving Challenge success. There it is. We'd like to start with a poll question to see how long or how many giving challenges you all have participated in, because we know it's going to be a variety, but we're trying to see if this is first time brand new, or if you've been doing this all 10 giving challenges and you absolutely have this down. So there should be a poll question. There it is. Just so you know, hosts and panelists can't vote. So this is all about you all. So if you will, I see some answers in the chat, but if you'll answer the poll, then it will do the math for me. I'll give you a couple of more seconds. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Can we close the poll and see the results? Well, look at that. You are just spread evenly. First timers, about 21%. Okay, a bunch of you, this is your second, third, fourth, and then a couple of you have done a lot of them. We love seeing that. And that we ask that question because we believe it will help us in what we present to you today. So I am going to turn it over to Josephine to get us started in our content.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I almost said good morning. Let me see. So I'm happy to be here. This is exciting for us, maybe not so exciting for you guys, that we're going to be talking about planning in November. but we want to help you get started now. And so before I go on, I'm going to give you a minute to take in this slide. I think this might be the most important slide of the whole hour, right? So there's 6 months until Giving Challenge. Or you could look at it as 24 weeks, or not my favorite, but it's 169 days. So what we want you to know is we really, truly, like Sara said, believe that if you start now, the planning process will be so much easier, so less frustrating and rushed and scary. And we hope by the end of today, with the resources that we give you after the training session, that it'll put you in a place where you feel empowered to start making some changes and differences and looking into some data now and give you the planning tools as you move forward, headed to the next 24 weeks. All right, so let's just jump right in. There's a couple of key things on this slide that we wanted to point out to you right away. So again, the whole premise of this is, for us, because we're not necessarily in your shoes right now, we say start now. Start today, start tomorrow, even if you start next week, but just start on some of these key things that we wanted to bring to your attention early on. And we'll get into more details and nuts and bolts of some other planning things in a little bit. So one of the first things we say is, obviously, make sure that you register for the Giving Challenge. The deadline to register is December 31st. But in the meantime, register early so that it gives you time to really create a fabulous Giving Challenge page. You want it to be inviting. You want your message to be clear. You want the impact to show through so that when people do visit your Giving Challenge page, it makes sense, it feels warm, and they know why they should give to your organization. And in the same vein, we also think that you should take some time to update your giving partner profile as well. And keep in mind, all of these things that we're talking about should tie in together. The visuals and the theme and the idea of your Giving Challenge page should emanate through your giving partner profile. And then as well as your social media and your website. We want it all to look the same. Sometimes I look at orgs or when I'm starting with new clients and there's various informations in various places that I look. And so you want it all to tie together. And the good news is it's only the end of October. So you have plenty of time to check into those things and make sure that it's an overall cohesive look for your organization and your message and the impact that you're having. For instance, if someone goes to your website because they hear about your organization, you want them to immediately know why giving a gift would make a difference. You want them to know that going to your Giving Challenge profile and your Giving Partner profile. What should jump out is, why should I give and what difference is it going to make? Then you should take the time, because you have plenty of time. I'm going to keep saying that through the whole hour. You have plenty of time. Think of what your why is for this Giving Challenge. I know that's probably the first place a lot of organizations jump, and that's perfect, but start now. Sara's going to talk about gathering your team and bring some people together and think about what your message should be. Why should somebody give to your organization? And I think the key thing for us to make sure that you really remember is make sure the message is about the people you serve and the impact you create, not what your organization needs. I'm going to say that one more time. It should be about the people you serve and the impact you create, not about what you need. And then I like to think about it as transformation versus a transaction. And then another key that we think you could start on right away is gather those stories, those pictures, those videos that you have in multiple places and that you've loved over the years that really show the impact of your organization. Put them in one folder now, start now, since you have 6 months, and have it ready. For my clients, one of the most frustrating and time-consuming things that happen for them during planning for Giving Challenge is finding those pictures. I know they'll say, I know I have this video, or, oh, I remember this picture. This would be great for this. And then it takes so much time for them to find it. So start now, do yourself a favor, just make a folder, tell the rest of your team, your staff, where the folder is, and start putting things in there now so it's handy and useful. And then the one that I love most to talk about, oh wait, you went away. Sorry. All right, sorry, there you are. Is stewardship. That's my favorite thing to talk about. And actually in planning this, now I don't have control. Oops, there we go. Sorry. In planning this, we thought about what's the key thing we really want to bring to you. There's a bunch of important things, but the key thing we really want to say is it's all about the stewardship. And it's not necessarily about the stewardship in this conversation after the Giving Challenge or 2 weeks before the Giving Challenge. It's right now because we have 6 months and it's only the end of October. But who haven't you reached out to? We know that stewardship is the bridge between the gifts. Everything is tied together through building relationships. The more you build relationships, the more successful your Giving Challenge campaign will be, but also the more successful your overall organization will be. So we want you to think about stewarding those folks now. And I'm just going to take a few seconds to talk about that. Who haven't you engaged recently? Start asking yourself, who is it that we need to hear from? Why did those people give? And why might not they be giving again? And how can you reconnect with them? Who are your lapsed donors who gave once and haven't given again? It's not because they don't want to give. Most often it's because they haven't heard from you or they haven't been asked to give. And I know it feels like it could be a daunting task. The good news is it's only the end of October. But really taking the time now and stewarding them now and talking to them, sharing with them, thank you for your gift you gave last year. This is the impact that it made. This is the impact it had in our organization. Writing a handwritten note, making a phone call, all of those things will make a difference leading up to Giving Challenge. One of the things I hear most from donors out and about around Giving Challenge is they get overwhelmed with the amount of information and requests and emails right before Giving Challenge. So don't let your donors think you're only reaching out because of that. This is an ongoing process, right? Like donor stewardship is happening year round. It's about the consistency. And so start now and reach out to those folks that haven't heard from you in a while. And then one of the things that's my favorite thing to do with clients is look at who hasn't opened your emails recently. Some folks, some of my clients are so surprised at some of the people that have blocked their emails from the organizations coming. And it's not a bad thing. It's not because they don't want to hear from you. It just, as we know, there's a plethora, which is a blessing in Sarasota, Manatee counties. So many organizations, but some folks get a lot of emails. So take the time now, because it's only the end of October, and look at who's not opening them. Because I hear a lot of my clients say, but we're sending and we've sent impact and pictures and videos. But when you take the time and look who's receiving those, who's actually opening and reading them, you'll be shocked to see that the information you think is going to those donors isn't really getting to them. And so then that gives you a chance to say, hey, George, I see you haven't opened our emails. Do you have a different email? What's a better way to communicate with you? Would you rather me text you? There's all of that you can incorporate in finding out who hasn't opened those emails. So again, it's also about the stories that connect to why the donor gave in the first place. Remind them what they first cared about. When you're looking for donors that you haven't been in touch with, share something that connects them back to what they originally gave for, whether it's a program or a playground or planning for a conference, whatever that is, remind them what that was that got them excited to give that first gift anyway. And sometimes it's as simple as saying, I've been thinking of you. Here's what's going on. Wanted to share some exciting news. Thanks for always being so supportive. But again, I think you get it by now. I'm going on, but the important part is be in touch and show gratitude and make sure that you remind them why they loved your organization. Okay, so here's a quick thing about cleaning up your data. Again, you have 6 months, and hopefully this doesn't feel overwhelming for any of you, but we thought really hard and intentionally about the things we wanted to point out to you. You'll get this PowerPoint in the end. You'll get some other resources that we're going to go over, and hopefully it's a good review or reminder or some checklists for you. So don't let this feel like, oh my gosh, there's so much to do. And remember, you still have 6 months to do it. Review your donor database, like whatever that is. If it's spreadsheets, if you have a CRM, review it and make sure your emails, your phone numbers, your addresses are all accurate. Make sure everyone, this is one of the things my clients, it's an aha moment as well. Take this time to start, as you are out and about in the community and talking to folks, make sure all those folks are on some kind of communication list for you leading up to the Giving Challenge. We often have our donor list and we have maybe our prospective donor list, but there's a ton of other people that could be on your Giving Challenge communication list or in general for your organization, but that you want to make sure you don't forget to reach out to. They don't have to be a donor. One of the things that I think is awesome to remember is that there's so many people vying for donations here in our community, in our region. Remember, you have all of the connections outside. Anyone in the US can give to the Giving Challenge during that 24 hours. So because there's so much pull on and tug of war on who's going to give to which organizations, I like to give to as many as possible, but unfortunately I don't have millions of dollars to give everyone as much as I would love to. So remember, you can talk to your sisters and your uncles and your best friends and whoever that is, ask them to put it on their calendar and to give to your organization. And I'm going to hurry along. Social media, I don't think I need to say too much about that. Start now, because it is only October. Don't wait before the Giving Challenge. The thought of it now is if you're not consistently posting on whatever social media platforms you do, start now so that you're front and center in front of folks now, and that they're excited about your story, your impact, your results that you're doing, so that you're already in their minds when it comes to Giving Challenge. Thank them publicly, and then again, I said it before, but make sure those visuals and hashtags are consistent now about your organization so you can carry them through in some of your Giving Challenge messaging. And then just a quick comment about tailoring it, right? We already talked about what tailoring your messaging to your donors and how you steward them. We already talked about what matters most to donors, reflect that. If they gave for the playground, reflect that. If they love children, reflect that. Personalize whenever you can. Hey, John, we haven't seen you in a while, or I haven't talked to you, let's go for coffee. Even if it's an e-blast, try to use their names so it doesn't feel so informal. And then ask them, again, we've said that, ask them how they want to be communicated with. That always will make a big difference. And so consistency is the key. Strengthen your relationships before the Giving Challenge, and then continue to strengthen them all year round. And we promise you, you'll see a big difference in the folks that are supporting you. Now I'll turn it over to Sara.
Great. Thank you, Josephine. Do a little slide advance. So some more good news. You don't have to go this alone. Hopefully you are the representative of your organization for the Giving Challenge, but there's a whole team of people behind you. I like this visual because it's building that pyramid. Hopefully you're the one with the flag because you're here today, but think about all of the people who can help you with this. Now is the time to start thinking about who your team members can be. And there's this temptation sometimes for us to think, oh, I would be better off just doing all this myself. And our warning to you is, no, you would not. You need to start looking for who can help you. So let's start with board members. It is our belief that board members should be engaged in fundraising for your organization. And the Giving Challenge is an excellent place to either start that engagement or to strengthen that engagement, because your organization has a certain sphere of influence. But if your board members are also all reaching out to their spheres of influence, then you're reaching more and more people. Also think about volunteers who are already engaged with your organization. They may be active, hands-on volunteers, or they may be remote and help you occasionally volunteers. And then think also about people who might not want to volunteer in your programs or services, but would be interested in volunteering for this. Maybe they would be comfortable being a social media ambassador or helping you with specific tasks. Your donors could also be part of your team. This is a chance to ask them if they want to be engaged and involved. And then there's the magical bullet point, others. So think for a second about who that might be for your organization. It could be the people who benefit from your programs and services. It could be your families. If you're a school, it could be the parents of the children and students that you're serving. If you provide services to senior adults, it could be those senior adults. Now, it's good news because it's 6 months away, but now is the time to start thinking about those team members and asking them if they would be involved and then how they would be involved. So let's think about what are some of the team member assignments you could make. I recommend that you think about this like a help wanted ad. You don't want to say, we'd like people who will work with us for 6 months and we're going to meet every week to talk about this. People tend to shy away from that kind of commitment. But if you can do it like a help wanted ad, we need someone to help us with outreach. We're going to need about an hour a month for the next 3 months. Then people are more likely to do that. And these are some of the categories where people could help you: outreach, marketing, cleaning up the donor data, like Josephine was talking about. Think about the activities and actions you'll need after the Giving Challenge, either the 24 hours of the Giving Challenge to provide some follow-up with donors, or in the days and weeks after. If you're planning to host or have an event, now is the time to think about who would be interested in helping us with that in-person event or virtual event when the Giving Challenge comes along. And then other, because your creativity is what makes your Giving Challenge campaign successful. So who are the volunteers and what can they do? There are people who are part of your organization who have expertise and are just waiting for you to ask them to help you. So then let's talk about engagement. It is very important that the leadership of your organization are engaged in your Giving Challenge campaign. That starts with board members. They are volunteers and they have an opportunity to be hands-on and involved with the Giving Challenge. Your executive leadership, a CEO or executive director or head of school, whatever you call that executive leader, they should also be part of this. If you have a staff, then make sure you're informing your executive leadership or if you're an all volunteer organization, make sure you're informing your key volunteers who are keeping things going. And then again, if you have staff, make sure that your senior staff are aware, because they certainly have spheres of influence where they could reach out. So let's get specific on the plans that you need to make. Start with your number of donors goal, and then think about your monetary goal. Please don't just pick a number out of the sky. Look at your previous Giving Challenge performances, if you've participated before, and estimate based on what you think you're adding and how you think you can increase it. If you've never done a Giving Challenge campaign, then think about the other kinds of fundraising that you've done. It's important that you put some thought behind this goal. It's also important to have a goal, because we are more likely to reach a goal once we set it. That may sound like, thank you, Captain Obvious, but it's true. If we just say, well, we'll raise whatever we can raise, then we're not really headed anywhere. And today we want to talk about a roadmap and a plan, and a goal's a big part of that. So the additional goals, think about the Giving Challenge prizes that are available. A lot of those are automatic application that you'll reach just by participating in the Giving Challenge. Some of those will need some planning at this point. Think about matching gifts. I talked about the Patterson Foundation's matching gift, but organizations can also have their own matching gift opportunities. So you may have a key donor who will step forward and say, we'll match every gift up to $500 in the first hour of the Giving Challenge. Or maybe it's the middle of the night, or maybe it's all new donors that they will match. And it can be any dollar amount. It could be $10,000. Or maybe a group of donors get together and say, we'll match the first $10,000, or if we raise $10,000, we'll match it. In previous Giving Challenges, there's data that shows organizations who have these second and third matches have great success. So now is the time to think about that. And now is the time to talk to donor prospects about that. It gives them a chance to be more deeply engaged in what you're doing. And then think about peer-to-peer fundraising. So that term describes when a person, a peer, so if I set a goal that I'm going to raise $100 for my favorite organization, there are opportunities on the Giving Challenge platform to set that up. And there are tools. I'm not the expert, but there are experts available to you to help each of your peers set that up. So I, as Sara Leonard, could say my goal is $100, and then I could share that with my friends and family and ask them to give and help me reach my goal. Board members are really good candidates for this peer-to-peer fundraising. Sometimes they say to us, I don't want to ask strangers for money. Okay, this isn't asking strangers for money. This is sharing your passion for our organization with others. And most board members should be comfortable doing that. The Giving Challenge is also a chance to work with other nonprofits or even for-profit businesses and have some partnerships. So maybe you're with an organization that serves the same geographic area, or your missions are complementary. We love seeing the stories of how organizations come together and amplify the message and strengthen the community involvement. And then if you're going to have events, now is the time to set goals for those. How many people are going to work on that? How many people are going to attend? When do we invite them? How many invitations do we send? This is your chance to set some specific goals and track what you're doing. Okay, I'm going to turn it back over to Josephine, and I'm going to remind all of you to put your questions in the Q&A box, and we will try to answer those as we finish or as we go, whichever works.
Okay, I wish we could see you all and just say, all right, how are you feeling now? but really take a big deep breath. Like, what we want you to know is that if you start early, I think what it is with my clients and in the community, we hear a lot from nonprofits that it feels like a lot. And we also know that you have other things that you're planning. It's season, it's end of year giving. There's so many things going on. A lot of what we're telling you, especially what we've already covered, should be able to support and enhance what you're doing. So as you're thinking of planning some of these things in the calendar that we're going to talk about, moving towards the 6 months before the giving challenge, also make room for what you already have on your calendar. Are you having events? What are some big things going on in your organizations? We're not saying to ignore those or to move those or don't give as much effort there. It's hopefully everything will be able to work together if you have enough time to plan early. So the nonprofits that are overwhelmed, I always say, start now. Like we can fix it. You can fix it. You can have a simple road towards a successful campaign instead of waiting until the last minute. So we hope that throughout this next 30, 25 minutes, it'll will be more resources to help you feel comfortable moving forward in a slow, steady, unfrustrating pace. Okay, so here we go. Take one more deep breath because now we are going to jump into planning. um, so what we do know is organizations that start early definitely tend to see higher donor numbers and larger total donations at the end of the campaign. So again, it's not that last minute, hey, Sarah, can you give $100 toward the giving challenge next week? You've already done all of these steps to prime the people in the community that feel passionate about your mission. And so some of the questions we would discuss if we were in person is, what's one thing you would wish you started for last year's Giving Challenge campaign for those of you who have done it previously? Or for those newbies here, what's one thing that feels most daunting or feels like a big challenge that you want to start early on? So think of those things as we're talking about the planning. So as Sara said, gather your team. This should not be, the planning part should not be done by yourself. Think about lessons learned again, either in previous Giving Challenge campaigns or other things that you do through your organization, things you wished you had made more time for that you could tweak. Knowing about stewardship and the photos and the videos that we mentioned. Gather your team, talk through the lessons learned, and we'll start giving you some planning tools. Let me advance my slide, maybe. Technology savvy is what I am. Okay, so I know this is really small and you'll get a blown up version, but I wanted to give you a peek into the template that you'll receive after the training. So this is just a suggested guidelines and checklist that walks you through November all the way through April 15th, 16th, Giving Challenge 24 hours, and then a little bit after the challenge through the end of April. So these are just planning tools. They're made specifically so that you can tailor it to your own organization. Once you receive it, we recommend highlighting some of the things you've already done, taking off the things that you don't think you need specifically for your organization. But it gives you the key steps, the reminders, and the best practices so that you aren't reinventing the wheel if you've done the Giving Challenge before, but also that you can keep it somewhere so that moving forward, you can use it in future Giving Challenge campaigns, as well as just for your organization in general. I think there's a lot of key things that if you put into practice will help fundraising year round. Okay, so again, me and my technical savvy self. All right, so now here's a little bit deeper dive into what this will look like. Each month will give you the focus, the specific tasks, and the notes. A little tip will be at the bottom. and some, obviously you see the tasks for November. Again, none of these are written in stone. There's no magic. There's no rule book for it. It's just collectively as fundraising professionals, what we thought could happen each month as a guideline to help you move forward. So November is really about laying the foundation. Before you jump into action and start doing a lot of things, November is your time to slow down and get clear. Get clear on your goals, get clear on your team, get clear on your message. And as I mentioned before, I think if I had to choose, the most important thing for you to do is steward your donors, existing prospective donors now outside of the Giving Challenge campaign, not mentioning anything, but just stewarding them. So that's what November is about. And you, as you can see, there's a bunch of bullets, but those are interchangeable for what's going to work best for your organization. And then again for November, hold on, I'm just going to take a quick water. I tried not to do that. Okay, so for December, it's about refinement and pre-engagement. Warm up your donors and fine-tune your message. So again, it's quiet momentum behind the scenes. You're still preparing your message. This is when you could potentially reach out to some of your closer donors or the ones that you feel comfortable asking, that perhaps maybe they'll give you an additional match on top of what the Patterson Foundation match is. Start talking to your board members, obviously, and getting them ready to ramp up for what's coming in the next couple of months, but also start talking to folks who could be your ambassadors and who might be willing to take on being a peer-to-peer fundraiser. So December is sort of, like I said, that behind the scenes quiet momentum month. And we're going to go through a couple of the months and just give you a little tip. And each, like I said, what you just saw and what we'll send you, each will have all of those bullets in our suggested action steps. This is just a highlight for January through April. So in January, fine tune your plans, activate your champions. That's the time to start telling some of your ambassadors, some of your board members, your staff, whoever volunteers, start posting on social media, start talking to their friends like, hey, in April, this is coming up. We're so excited, but it's still not an official kickoff. We wouldn't say it's a little too soon for that, but have folks start being your champions and talking about it behind the scenes in the community. And then tighten your systems, empower, we said that empower your ambassadors, but again, it's the checking that you have all the folks' email, everything's in order for your database, you know who likes to be reminded or communicated with in certain ways. That's what January would be about. February is about starting to make some noise and build the excitement, engage and build the momentum, focus on relationships, and have a lot of energy with it. Again, remember, folks don't give to the organization. Sara says it best. Folks don't give, I'm quoting you, and if I do it wrong, she's going to hear me. Folks don't give to the organization, they give through the organization, right? So another way to remember, thank you, Sara. Another way to remember, you want to make sure they're giving for the specific reason, not because your organization needs the money, not because you have to keep the doors open, which is also what you could use the money for, but they want to know specifically what the impact of their money is going to make. That's when you start talking about it in February in a really exciting way. March, you're full on. It's full campaign mode. You're sharing your messages out there. You're starting to send your e-blasts. You're really saying, hey, will you be with us? Will you stand with us in our Giving Challenge campaign? Some of you will have events. Some of you will be doing activities and partnering with businesses and organizations. Now's the time to be loud and bold out in the community all through March. The one thing to keep in mind though is be responsive and agile. So if you see you had this great idea for something and it's not really getting as much attention as you thought it would, be okay to shift, focus, and turn to something else. It's not all written in stone. Nobody's going to know that you're switching your mode of communication or sending less emails. But that's where I think a lot of my clients forget, is to be flexible in March. Yeah, and then we all know this, and I guess it sounds a little silly for me to say, but I'm going to say it anyway, is stay in celebration mode. Stay excited. I don't think anyone should ever know anyone in your organization is feeling overwhelmed about the giving challenge. Like, keep it inside the walls, and when you turn outward, you're excited and inviting folks to be excited with you. So the beginning of April, it's the final stretch. It's the time to do a lot of gratitude, celebrate the lives that you're changing, and do those last minute touches with your donors. Really say, we need you. We want you to stand with us. Will you support us? We're making a difference. That's a lot of, I think, time that you would reach out to folks personally. The handwritten notes, phone calls, meetings, be out and about as much as you can. Send your staff, your volunteers, your ambassadors, your board members, and everyone just be connecting as much in person as possible at the beginning of April. I know people are like, this is too much. All right, so then we have the day. Be present, be visible, be joyful. There's nothing really else I can say about the day. Let it be a celebration. I know it's a lot. You're exhausted. You're nervous. You want the donations to come. They'll come. You've done all the work. We've prepared you perfectly. All right, last thing. So some of us love, I'm laughing because a friend of mine who's on loves spreadsheets, not mentioning names. I don't really love spreadsheets, but some of you might. So we're also adding this as a tool that will help you plan and create your own system of how you want to track and go through the planning process. So the first one I gave you is more like a checklist, which is a Word document and a PDF you'll receive. This one is the Excel spreadsheet. So it will have all of those things, the focus areas, the specific tasks, the tips. It'll have it on the first page. And again, you can edit it any way you want. But then on the other tabs, it breaks it down into the specific categories for November, let's say, that you want to cover, the details and the actions, who should be doing it, the deadlines. So if you are somebody that loves that much detail, this Excel spreadsheet, you don't see it all, but it goes, each tab has a place for you to put all the information that you might need. So lots of tools, lots of action. The final thing I can say to you is there's 6 months. It's only the end of October. And there's plenty of time to start some of these things so that it's a smoother ride for you over the next 6 months. All right.
Josephine, some of the Excel loving people self-identified in the chat box.
I like them. It just feels a little more daunting. But we wanted to make sure everybody has something that matches the way they like to do the planning. So now, wait, let me go back. Sorry. You weren't supposed to see that yet. Okay, or not. Okay, no, yes. So any questions in the chat, or Erica, maybe you could help us in the Q&A. Any questions that we might need to cover?
Josephine, hi Sarah, it's Misha, I'm back. And you guys are doing wonderful. And I think I see lots of notes of appreciation in the chat. Yes, checklists, lots of good downloads, spreadsheets. So we've been trying to answer those questions both in the chat or in the Q&A. with some specific questions that people have. But I think overall, we're seeing a lot of great appreciation for the tools that you're providing. So I'm just going to pause for a minute and see if there's other questions that come in. Both of you were also extremely efficient on time, which I know this group appreciates. So, so we'll just kind of give
So
that
there
a
was
minute here.
a question about a free platform or templates to track donors giving, etc. I don't know of a free platform, but there are inexpensive and CRMs that are designed specifically for small organizations getting started. My recommendation is to start at TechSoup, just like tomato soup, it's TechSoup. And that's a good resource, like a starting point to figure out what's available to you.
That's great. I just want to highlight a couple other questions that came through, and I'll kind of work backwards. I did put into the chat the link so that everyone can find where to register for future trainings that come up next. The next one's January 21st, and then there's another one following in February. So you'll certainly want to build on that. And then we'll have one last one with GiveGab, our partner, in March, just about a month before we reach into the 10th Giving Challenge. There was also a question about when nonprofit organizations partner and how donors make a decision or how the distribution of funds happen. And that really does come back to donors making their choice. There's lots of different successful examples of nonprofit collaborations. And I know we've had that as a prize for several years as well. So really, and Sara and Josephine, you're welcome to weigh in on this anymore, but I would say consider a partner, maybe with a similar mission or a tangential mission, and the two of you together will amplify the reach that you have. I don't know, Sara or Josephine, if you'd like to add anything more there.
Yes. So I worked with an organization that had a program specifically for veterans. And there was a veterans organization that helped them with it, but the veterans organization wasn't large enough to be part of the Giving Challenge. So they partnered in that way. I've also known of organizations who were geographically, like both in Charlotte County or both in a particular neighborhood, but it is up to the donor to decide where the gift goes.
Yes. And I similarly have worked with organizations who they're not necessarily partnering for their message through the Giving Challenge, but they partner to amplify the idea of the Giving Challenge. So they put on a festival or a small gathering, and each has a booth, and they invite the community to come. And so they're small organizations, and they're more powerful when everyone's inviting their constituents and their friends. And so I've seen it work really well that way. And again, like both Misha and Sara said, ultimately it's the donor's decision. And I'll keep saying it, but it's why I spent so much time talking about stewarding donors and prospective donors and supporters now, because the more you do it now, then you're cemented in their mind when it comes to April. And then one last real quick is, don't forget, I think we mentioned it a little bit, but there's a lot of businesses out there that would love to partner with you as well to get, there's a return on their investment as well, whatever that might be that they want. And so that they can help amplify your campaign as well. Don't only think of other nonprofits, but think of maybe are there businesses that are like-minded or have the same constituents as you or serve the same geographical area, and reach out to them, because yes, it's only October and you have time. I had to get it in one more time. So
So there's
And-
go ahead, Misha.
I was just going to help you both out and just say that there's a couple of questions that have come in. While some people are very familiar with the Giving Challenge, there are several, as we saw in the poll, that this might be their first time and maybe they're newer organizations. And so there's a general question about how, as a new organization, how do you, and this could be its own webinar on its own, but how do you go about really building your donor list and getting connected with people who would be your supporters?
I love that question. So I'll offer a visual. Picture a center point, maybe a dartboard, but concentric circles. So if your organization is at the middle of that, then think about each ring as you move out. And that's how to start finding prospects. So organization at the middle, what's that first ring? That's you. If you have an active board, not if, but your board is at the center of that. It could be the people you're serving or your funding partners. That's that next circle. And then move out. That's the community. And what you're looking for are who cares? Who cares about what you're doing that would be part of that circle, because the rest of it is everybody else in the universe who doesn't know or doesn't care. But you want to find the people who do care. And my favorite fundraising speaker, Jerry Panis, used to say, people give for one of two reasons: to change a life or to save a life. And so as a new nonprofit, you need to think about, how do we explain how we are changing lives or saving lives, and start to share that message. Now, from a practical standpoint, you also want to start collecting what I would call a house list. Anytime you participate in anything out in the organization, capture names and email addresses. People you serve, names, email addresses. Any way you can start to build that house list and then start communicating with them on how you are changing or saving lives.
I love it.
Great,
And
Sara.
part of a question is, what if we don't have any past donors, which you touched on, but how do we decide to whom we should reach out to? So Sara answered that, but I also want to add, outside of our community, right? Start reaching out to the folks that you know, that your staff knows, whoever that is, and share your story. So it doesn't just have to be, we don't have donors, but you should be reaching out to anyone that wants to hear about what you do. Your board members, if you have well, you should have board members, your volunteers, if you have staff, everyone should be talking about it. And those are the folks that you reach out to, everyone you come in contact with, the grocery store lady, your dry cleaner, your doctor. Just reach out to everyone and share passionately about the impact you're making.
Thank you both. We have time for one last question, and I am going to answer this one. So it was a question about the difference between the Giving Challenge and the Giving Partner. I know it can get confusing. The Giving Challenge, what we're talking about today, is that one-time event, that 24 hours of giving. Obviously, we've got a long runway to be able to prepare and get ready for that. So that's an individual campaign experience, and that has great momentum with your every organization's individual communications, and as well as the opportunity to amplify with matches, including the match from the Patterson Foundation. The Giving Partner is all the other days of the year, the 364 other days. And so that is our community foundation's online giving directory that provides transparency and an abundance of information for donors who are interested in finding causes to support or learning more about your mission. And so that's something that organizations can keep updating constantly throughout the year. There's additional tools in there. So aside from this particular campaign, you can have ongoing fundraising campaigns among other features as well. And if you have questions about that, again, reach out to nonprofits at cfsarasota.org. And if you have questions about the Giving Challenge, reach out to givingchallenge@cfsarasota.org. And with that, we are finishing right on time. So Sarah, Josephine, thank you very much. And thank you to everyone who joined us today. This presentation will be on our YouTube channel, and everyone who registered will get an email in about 24 hours with links to the recording, as well as all of the resources that Josephine and Sara have put together for you, and they are editable. So have at it and happy planning. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Great. Thank you, everyone.